It seems to me that it's very easy to open a conference here. I know that when I come into this hall in Jerusalem, then I have to say thank you to the Center for European Studies at Ben-Gurion University and the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. This is the place where we meet. And I will say something about them shortly. We, of course, have a very productive and positive cooperation between the university, and particularly between the Center for the Study of European Politics and Society, with Stiftung Konrad Adenauer, and as I'm sure the Stiftung does with many other universities and many other centers, and we're delighted that this positive cooperation and collaboration in the advancement of science and research and in the advancement of relations between Israel and European academia and universities is going from strength to strength. And it goes without saying that speaking just for the second as the dean from a specific university, it goes without saying that we thank very much the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung for all the past, present and future collaborations that we do together in the name of science. And also I'm very happy as always to thank my colleagues from the Center for the Study of European Politics and Society, Dr. Sharon Pardo, Alma Vadari, Yoav Friedman, Hila, who as always, I think have become one of the most professional organizers of events like this. And it's not just a technical organization, it's also an understanding of the content of what goes into them. And we thank them as well for their very efficient and effective organization of this event. We're here today to discuss the Bologna process, and maybe to discuss it to learn more about it. And you may well ask, you know, why should we be doing this? Israel isn't part of the Bologna process. But nevertheless, we're pretty close to it, not just geographically, also in terms of what we're doing. A lot of what we do at all of the universities and within all the educational framework in Israel today is tied in very much with what's going on in Europe. We take part in Erasmus Mundus, we take part in other cooperation schemes, we sign association agreements with European universities. And clearly, as we want to become increasingly involved and partners and cooperative and collaboration, yes, in research, in terms of teaching, in terms of putting together groups of universities who put forward research projects together, we need to understand the rules of the game, we need to play by the rules of the game, and we need to go towards the same sort of standardization of frameworks and of courses and of research proposals that is actually taking place in Europe as well, because at the end of the day there are game rules to play and we need to know more about them, we need to know how to be part of them, we need to know how to adapt our own specific and unique needs and requirements to those which are becoming standardized throughout Europe. And I think it's a very right, oh that's bad English to say very right, it's proper and correct that we do advanced planning, as some other countries who are not part of the Bologna process are doing, and we think about how we can create the necessary frameworks, the common understanding, in order to, if and when the opportunities are there, that we, you know, are ready to take advantage of them in a very positive way for our benefit and advantage, and for the advantage and benefit of European academic institutions. That's why I'm really delighted that we have here representatives from Israel's different universities. We have from the Council of Higher Education, the Malag, we have from the Ministry of Education, because obviously all of us are interested in cooperating within and between ourselves and within and between Europe. Of course, I'm delighted that what has happened is that my own particular university, my own particular faculty has actually taken the lead on this, and that it's generally accepted now that the Center for the Study of European Politics and Society, Ben-Gurion University, has been given the green light to become the coordinator or the organizer of this for all of Israel's institutes of higher education. And even to the extent that as dean, I've even given a room, and you know how scarce and valuable rooms are within universities these days, and so they have a home, a room, when a secretary who's dealing with these issues. So I think it's very important for the future of higher education, for the future of teaching, for the future of research, for the future of cooperation and collaboration between us and European institutes and universities, I'm sure that collectively we can all learn a lot today about what we should be thinking about where we should be going from here in order to try and create that level of standardization which suits us, which is relevant to the European institutions, and which can help us move forward and develop future collaborative projects in the future. So once again, thank you very much to Sharon and all his colleagues. Thanks very much to the Stiftung Konrad Adenauer for helping us put this together. And thank you to everyone who's come from a variety of institutions, because we understand here that this is not something that we are competing with each other, but it's something that together, in order to advance Israeli science and research, we need to collaborate, and hopefully today will give us the tools with which to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. A warm welcome to all of you on behalf of the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. Let me just say a couple of words about what we are doing here in Israel. First of all, the Konrad Adenauer Foundation started as a think tank, as an institution in Germany that was committed to civic education. And 50 years ago, we started our international work. So now the Konrad Adenauer Foundation is present all over the world in more than 80 country offices. We are present in North Africa and the Middle East. We have offices not only in Jerusalem for Israel, but also in Ramallah for the Palestinian territories, and in Amman for Jordan. And these three offices are cooperating very closely. Of course, during the 30 years that Konrad Adenauer Stiftung has been active in Israel, the bilateral German-Israeli partnership has played a crucial role and is still playing a crucial role. We are also involved in a dialogue between Israel and its neighbors. But in the last couple of years, the German-Israeli dialogue has acquired a European dimension, which is becoming more and more important. And we are very happy and very privileged to have an outstanding partner at Ben-Gurion University. I thank Sharon, I thank you, David, for this wonderful partnership, and it's certainly not the last time we'll meet here. Although I must say, in many respects, the kind of cooperation we are doing is very much about, research, about descriptive things, about analysis, but now we are really changing something. We are making a difference, and this is what makes this project so exciting. I think it's the first time I can see that Konrad Adenauer Stiftung is a partner in such a project, and I'm sure it will make a difference. We are very happy we are involved in it, and thank you for inviting us to participate in that project. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish all of us a fruitful and good discussion. May we all leave this place wiser than at the moment when we entered. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. And I must tell you that we should all blame David for the long name that we got, the Center for the Study of European Politics and Society. This is David and Joel, actually, as well, a joint cooperation. But Boker Tov, everyone, and it is a great pleasure for me to celebrate with all of you the inauguration of our new Bologna Training Center, the BTC as we call it, which is a joint initiative of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung and the Ben-Gurion University, and obviously the Center for the Study of European Politics and Society. Our new Bologna Training Center is the first and the only training center in Israel, and BGU and the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung will now take the leading role in adapting many of the academic courses and research projects of Israeli higher education institutions according to the guidelines of the Bologna process. Thanks really to the vision of Moshe Amir, who is here with us, the one and the only Moshe Amir, I should say, we have the pleasure to inaugurate this Bologna Training Center. It's a vision which I had the opportunity to hear from Moshe. And Moshe, thank you very, very much for taking us here today. But it's not only Moshe. It's also Carlos Macado. Dr. Carlos Macado is here with us. Carlos is an asset. He's a friend, and above all, a big, big supporter of the Bologna process. And Carlos, thank you very, very much for taking the time and joining us here today. Joining Moshe and Carlos are Hila and Yoav Friedman, And together with the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, with Michael and the Konrad Adenauer team, Israeli higher education institutions will now start their very long journey to the European higher education area. So with this Bologna Training Center, our long-standing CAS-BGU partnership will reinforce its status in Israel as a European powerhouse. I would also like to take this opportunity this morning to tell you just a little bit, before we switch into the Bologna stuff, to tell you just a little bit about our center, the European Center at BGU, who since its establishment in 2002, we have seen strengthening its position as a leading European research and academic center in Israel through new initiatives such as the BTC. Now, I must tell you that we do not only work on campus. Just last year, thanks to the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, we embarked on a new community outreach project, and this is our Europa team. Now, the Europa team, which was launched last year, strengthens the connection between the university and the local kids in schools in Beersheba and in the desert, in the Negev area. And the whole idea is that this team would simply increase school pupils' interest in the EU and in its role in the international arena. So in order to make this initiative a reality, a group of our students actually right now instruct school or high school and secondary school pupils on the topic of the European Union, both in Beersheba and all over the Negev area. So really, I must really emphasize the critical and acknowledge the critical role that Michael and the Konrad Adenauer team have played during the years. Michael and the CAS team support and encouragement are really instrumental to the development of not just our center, but also of Euro-Israeli relations. And Michael, thank you very, very much for joining us on this endeavor. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank David, because it is not taken for granted what David is doing for the center and with us. David is not only the chair, is not only the dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, but David is actually the founder of our European Center, and he is the chairperson of our steering committee. And thanks to David, we are literally here today. And David, thank you very much for being so wise to establish us. So thank you very much for that.
And write the check, please.
Okay. And of course, we should all thank our team and above all, Alma Vardari Kessler, who was with us from day one. Alma, we could have not done it without you, and thank you very much. So thank you very much, and Mazal Tov to our Bologna Training Center. And from now on, we move on to some Bologna stuff. Moshe, the floor is yours.